The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Beach Talk Radio, episode number 58. We are broadcasting live from Beach Time Out in Times Square on Fort Myers Beach, episode number 58. That's Kim Ryan, the wife. I'm Ed Ryan, and we are now on the personal Facebook page. If you are planning to watch us on the Beach Talk Radio page, we're doing something a little different today.
Why'd you change it?
I just wanted to see if we could grab some new listeners, some national listeners, and we also want to say hi to everybody listening on the Florida Podcast Network. We had the folks from the Florida Podcast Network
that was
on
so much fun
last week, and we appreciate everything they do for us. We're live on the Florida Podcast Network. We're live on Facebook, on YouTube. If you're joining us for the first time, you can also catch us on Spotify, on iHeartRadio. We have our own app that you can download for free from the App Store, Spreaker.com, and wherever you listen to our podcasts, you can tune us in anytime you want. It's episode number 58. Again, we're broadcasting live from Pete's Time Out on Fort Myers Beach, and our first guest of the show today.
Wow. You're whipping right into it. I was going to say how nice the weather was.
Okay, go ahead. Say how nice the weather is.
The weather is super nice. Everybody should come on down to enjoy their Memorial Day weekend. It's cool. I mean, it's warm, but the humidity is low. There's a breeze.
Yes.
It's perfect.
When I started the bike this morning at 4 a.m., it was beautiful.
Why does it always have to go back to you?
46 miles this morning. And then you got out your little paddle board to do your exercise.
I'd like
Get
to
out
see
in the water.
you get out there on my little paddle
How far
board.
did you go on the paddle board?
2 miles.
Did you keep track of that?
Well, it's a mile down to the pylon, where the old pier used to
Well,
be.
how fast were you going?
Well, not very. You're paddling.
Are your arms all jacked up from the ride?
Are you
Oh, wow, they
breaking
are. Ooh. All right. We'll talk more about that later.
All right, go ahead.
Because we don't want to keep Shannon waiting too long. She's a little bit nervous, but ladies and gentlemen, our first guest of the morning is Shannon Mapes. And Shannon is on the Human Resources Marine Resources Committee for Fort Myers, and she is like a botanist or something. You have like a big time background, right?
I have a bachelor's degree in laboratory science. I have a minor in chemistry. I have 25 plus years of experience working in different laboratory situations.
And way too smart for this show with all those degrees.
We have a PhD on our committee, so there are people smarter than me.
And the reason Shannon is on the show is because there's been some discussion about the banning of Roundup on the beach. And that came up a council meeting or two ago. And there's, first we banned plastic straws, and now we may ban Roundup. So, Shannon, first of all, how did you get involved in the committee and why?
Actually, a friend of mine who I'm always filling up her ear with environmental and gardening, anything environmental and marine. And I also do water testing. I moved down here, wasn't working, and decided I was bored. So I said, I can do water testing. That's something I can do, right? So I do volunteer water quality management, water quality testing for the Estero Bay Aquatic Preserve. That's pretty fun, right up my alley. And a friend of mine said I would be good on the Marine Resource Task Force, and I said, what's that?
Right.
So you apply, you write a letter why you want to be on the task force, and you are appointed by town council. So I've been doing that for about 3 years.
Wow. Now, you water testing, they're doing some water testing now, right? I saw a bunch of people in different spots out on the beach testing water. What do you know what that's about, or is that different?
Penny Jarrett is doing that in conjunction with an NOAA grant that she got. She's looking for non-point source pollution, which means you can't point to it and say that pollution's coming from that drain, or that's coming from the car wash, all the phosphates coming from the soap from the car wash or something. So she did a bunch of tests around the island, Gulf side and Bayside, to look for different pollutants, chlorophyll, the pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and then they're going to pinpoint bad areas and do more testing and hopefully be able to find where these pollutants are coming from and therefore get rid of them.
Gotcha. So they're doing that like 6 months apart or something like that.
Yes.
Do people go to the same spot and test the water again?
Look at you.
In order to have decent data, you really have
read
to be
once in a
doing...
while.
In order to have good data that you can say this is reliable, you have to keep testing for years in order to get, and you want to do rainy season, dry season, high tide, low tide. You want to make it consistent time of the day. when I do my water testing, we do it at sunrise because the chlorophyll is the lowest. The dissolved oxygen is going to be the highest. You want to make sure that you do it on a regular. So we do it at sunrise.
Okay, what is dissolved oxygen?
That is a measure of how much air is oxygen's in the water. The aquatic plants give off oxygen. Decaying material, like if you throw your grass clippings in the canal, actually use up oxygen in the decaying process. So people who blow their grass clippings into the canal, or they put coconuts or palm fronds in the canal, and they say, oh, it's okay, fish will eat it, it's okay. That doesn't happen.
Wow.
The dissolved oxygen actually gets so low with the decaying process that there isn't enough oxygen for anything to live down there. So if you look after years of putting your palm fronds in your canal, the palm fronds are going to be laying down there completely not decayed at all. So you want to keep any organic material out of your canal. For one thing, any canal is, any man-made inlet is an unnatural source. There's no circulation. So you want to try to keep those as clean as you can. We are also working on hopefully getting canal water testing done so we can pinpoint if there is a problem in any of our canals.
How many people do you think knew that if you put grass clippings in the water, it would be bad?
Well, there's actually an ordinance against that in the town of Fort Myers Beach.
So
Wow.
So everybody
Yeah.
should know.
And so
I
if
wonder
you
how many
see-
people know that.
If you see a lawn service blowing somebody else's grass clippings into their canal, you
Bad
can
idea.
call code enforcement and have that lawn company cited because they're supposed to know that. And it is really bad. You want to keep anything you can out of your canal.
And then once the oxygen level gets depleted, that's when what
That's
happens
when-
next? Everything's going to start
That's when
dying.
you have no
Those
fish,
right.
you have no beneficial algae, you have no crustaceans, you have nothing. You have a dead canal that's going to smell bad.
And then because we had we were talking about the mini reefs, putting in
Yes,
the mini
those
reefs,
are
and
very
I know
good.
they're starting to put some of those
Yes.
out in the canals to bring back the life to those canals.
Shout out to the Dolphin Inn Travis, which is where I actually launched my kayak to do our water testing. He's very pro water, and he went ahead and paid for 2 on his own.
Nice.
And he lets us use one of his kayaks. I bring my husband to actually do the paddling, and then we get to our site. Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I know. Poor guy. Get up early, and I make him come with me. So Travis is asking me, what can I do to improve the water quality in my canal? He has a 100-foot wide canal, and he has kayaks for his guests, and he has a really nice kayak launch area. And he put in mini reefs on his own. And then the town was looking for a test canal, and I suggested him because they needed a certain length, a certain depth, a certain width, and Travis already had his going there. So the whole canal that's behind the Dolphin Inn has mini reefs. The last time I kayaked, I counted about 40 on that.
Wow.
Yeah, they go underneath your pier, your dock, and they have very little impact. They don't hang. There's like a rubber ring.
Oh, yeah, we've talked to the
Yeah.
guy.
There. Yeah.
We've talked to the
Yeah.
company a
Yeah.
couple times.
They
What a
take-
great idea.
yeah, they
And it's
take
all a
9 months.
nonprofit. His company's all nonprofit.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
is great.
Ocean Habitats. It is. It's very good.
He
So
made a
we'll
lot of
see.
money doing something else, and he
Real
just wanted
estate,
to
I
give back.
believe.
Yeah.
And
Did
he
you-
has free water quality testing from FSW. The grad students, the seniors, will come out and analyze all that data for us. So that's really good.
Interns.
We've already
Yeah.
gotten way off the subject,
I know.
but see, when you have so
I
much
know.
knowledge and you know so much
I
about the
know.
water, here you go. So you're on the committee. How long have you been on the committee?
About 3 years.
3 years now. And you are the vice chair
Yes.
behind Bill Veach, who we've had on the show once, right?
Yep.
And so what is the goal of the committee?
Well, the mission statement is to care for and suggest legislation or implement ordinances to protect our water, which is basically our whole lifestyle. Last summer, our water was horrible, and it affected our lifestyle. So that's the whole. We are an ecological committee, and we're watchdogs, and we're all kind of eco nerds. So
So you meet twice a month, and then you
every
make
second Wednesday,
and you
once a
make
month.
recommendations to the council.
The council sometimes gives us assignments.
Nice.
And then we also have member initiatives. And we were assigned by council to look at the fertilizer ordinance and make improvements. And when I was doing research for that, I came across so much information that said that breakdown products from glyphosate and Roundup can actually feed the red tide. So I got off on another research, and I said, maybe we need to ban Roundup. This stuff is terrible. For one thing,
A glyph what?
glyphosate,
And
which
that
is
is-
the main ingredient in Roundup.
And Roundup's been in the news so much lately that they've been getting blasted and fined.
Monsanto,
And,
yeah,
for
yeah.
for
All sorts
Yeah.
of things.
Well,
cancer, for causing cancer.
We're not actually
Allegedly.
We're not actually interested in the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma carcinogenic possible link. We are only interested in the
Did you practice that? I mean, it came out perfectly.
medical fields.
Wow.
Years and years of medical field.
Try it again.
Yeah, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma carcinogenic link.
All right, dear, now you
Possible.
try it.
Yeah.
That's all right. Go ahead.
We are only interested in the fact that it is very bad for an aquatic environment. And it says it on the back of the label. Do not use it in an aquatic environment. Plus, you don't want to be walking on it. You don't want your pets in it. So,
Or your kids.
yeah, your grandkids. So the thing, Roundup has glyphosate in it, which is a broad spectrum. Some weed killers are specific. The broadleaf, dandelion. Glyphosate is broad spectrum, meaning it'll kill a tree. It'll kill anything, any plant. Roundup also adds what's called a surfactant, which is something that makes it foam up and kind of stick to the leaf. And a surfactant in itself is toxic, but when you add it with the glyphosate, it's even more toxic.
Well, and I was reading that it's, some of the quote unquote inert ingredients, though, are inert on their own, but then when
Right.
mixed,
It's
that
even worse.
cocktail makes it even worse.
And I actually have data for all of this. If
Uh-huh.
any of your readers want to ask where I got that, I can send them a link showing what I'm saying. I know a lot of people look at me, how do you know that? How do you know?
Right.
Well, I've researched all this. I have reams of data. I brought this big stack.
Nice.
Paper.
She has
Look
a
at that. You-
stack of paper.
I can send you all the information or you can Google it. I mean,
Right,
this is all
right.
information. Anything on the DEP is public information. All of our water quality information is on the DEP website. So nothing is a secret. Everything I'm telling you is something I found. And I also wanted to bring up the fact that the entire country of Germany is thinking about banning glyphosate. I think their reasoning is that not just for the water quality, but because of the possible carcinogenic link, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but also the town of Fort Myers Beach went ahead and Austin from Public Works looked into it, and he said he thought about the guys that do weed spraying.
Yeah.
He doesn't really want them going around with 3 gallons of a carcinogen on their back spraying weeds, so they came up with a really strong vinegar salt solution.
Well, before we get to the vinegar, the Roundup, are they spraying it right now? Are they spraying it on both? So are they spraying it everywhere on the beach? And how is it getting into the water? Just from the runoff?
No, well, yes. Roundup glyphosate sticks to an organic, meaning the grass and what you think of as dirt, the brown classic dirt. Roundup and glyphosate does not stick to sand. Even with the surfactant, it doesn't stick to sand. It'll just fly right through there. So a lot of people take Roundup and soak their gravel so they don't get weeds. You put it on there to prevent weeds. And then you water your lawn or it rains and it goes straight through into the groundwater. The water table here on Fort Myers Beach, we're at, 3 feet elevation.
Right.
So the water table's right,
Right
there.
there.
So it doesn't take a whole lot to get glyphosate right into the water table. And it goes into Estero Bay. And everybody will say to me, well, how do you know that? Well, I've got a quote here that says that
Go ahead.
people wonder, well, how does it matter I'm just one person, what does it matter? So I've got a quote here from the Sandpaper from August of 2019. Robert Moore from the Conservancy of Southwest Florida said, nutrients come from as far away as Orlando and Tampa, and they end up in Lake O. So if you think that what you're doing isn't going to end up in Estero Bay from this little half-mile wide island, of course it is. And we have a 3-foot elevation, the water table's right there, and you're going to spray, and it's going to rain, and everything that you're spraying goes right into Estero Bay.
And the other thing too is, like, and you'll agree with this, like the antibiotics that bugs become resistant to antibiotics. The weeds are becoming resistant to the Roundup, and so now it's like, well, just use more and more frequent and stronger. So now, that is a problem when the weeds start morphing and becoming resistant to the stuff that they're using.
And there are other things to use that are completely non-toxic too. Your pets stepping on it, they come in, they step on your tile, then you step on your tile with your bare feet. Now you've got it. There's other things you can use that are completely fine for you, and it's just going to bother your weeds.
She seems to think that I've given her dog cancer from the Roundup. Like her dog, she's got like a little
dog, little Maltese.
And I use Roundup. I'm not going to use it anymore, Shannon, I promise. When this last bucket is done, maybe I'll just
take it.
Well, what am I going to do with it now?
Get
to
rid of
the
it.
toxic. What do you call that? It's on
Recycling?
Topaz Avenue.
Where is that?
the place that you take it, it's Lee County Disposal.
Is that
It's
outside of Gateway?
It's off of Metro. We took all of our stuff
That's too
there.
far.
I will take
You
it
take
there.
it.
I'll
So-
take it there.
Hazardous waste.
So is it possible that I've poisoned the dog?
With Roundup,
I mean, I
There
didn't
are all
spray it in
kinds
the
of
dog's
things.
eyes or anything
No,
like that.
But every time you would spray,
and the dog steps
dog
on it, he can
would
get it.
get, get symptoms and signs of neurological dysfunction. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me. She's a little dog. So
Well, it
wouldn't
was
take
more
much.
like she got the runs. How do you know she had
She
neurological
also, because She would
dysfunctions?
hang her head and be all groggy.
yeah.
I think she's just depressed for some reason.
I think you're depressing me. Go ahead, continue with your
Sorry.
So-
alternatives.
So
to
how do we
Roundup.
know that the Roundup, once it gets into the water, that it's bad for? Well, that's a dumb question,
Well,
but I
They
mean,
already talked about that.
Roundup lives
it?
72 days on the ground, and after it gets into the water, it can stay in its intact form for 300 days. So Roundup, glyphosate can kill anything. So seagrasses are grasses. So you adding it to it every 300 days, there's more. It takes 300 days to break down, but there's however many people who are spraying it. So it's in there all the time. It's going to affect the seagrasses. It's not necessarily going to kill everything, but it can have a detrimental effect, meaning they've done studies on different in controlled environments, like different tanks with different concentrations of different kind of seagrasses, and they might not have as many green leaves, the roots aren't as strong. It's going to have some kind of an effect. And it can, of course, kill different seagrasses, different concentrations of it. And I'm talking about Baltic Sea studies. I'm talking about studies in Brazil, Texas A&M. There's studies in Hawaii. There's studies in Australia. And I can send all these links to all of you. This is a worldwide thing that's gone on that's not just unique to us. It's not something I discovered. This is worldwide, that Monsanto is not a good idea.
And there's been other areas in the country that have banned.
Well, the city of
Roundup.
Miami Beach actually banned it for use on city properties. And I think, once again, they banned it so that if there is a link between the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, their workers can't come back and say, well, the city made me use Roundup.
Right.
So they're using something organic in the city of Miami Beach, which is great.
Yeah.
And there are other towns that have proposed voluntary restrictions on Roundup and fertilizer. And the reason that I brought it up to be an ordinance was because, especially for us, more than half the properties on this island are either rentals or snowbirds, and they're not here, and they use lawn companies. So the lawn companies, and I can tell you, I live right next to a rental, and they used to spray, well, now it's a private home, but they would spray Roundup, and it's windy. They don't come back when it's ideal conditions, and it says on the back of the label, of course, do not use in an aquatic environment, harmful for pets, and then it says don't use when it's windy.
Right.
They're not going to come back, a lawn company, and spray when it's not windy. They would spray, and I have spots all over my plants. My sea grape was getting affected by it. So if you make it an ordinance, and then all of the lawn companies are going to be under the, they're going to know, we can't spray. You can spray in the rest of Lee County, but here in Fort Myers Beach, we don't want you spraying Roundup. There are 100 other things you can use.
so when you go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you see the Roundup, and did I interrupt you again?
No.
And then you see the other,
Shockingly.
they have other kinds of weed killers next to it, different brands and stuff. Is it all the same?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I got this stuff called Avenger, which is citrus oil, 70% citrus oil, and you can't buy it. There's 2 hardware stores on the island. They don't have anything except glyphosate. And there was a blue bottle, I forgot what it was, at Lowe's. And my husband bought it because I said, go buy something that's not glyphosate. So he brought it, and it says it's a deaminated fatty acid. But right underneath on the back of the label, it says, harmful for pets and animals. And then it says right next to that, do not use in an aquatic environment. So there's really nothing available. So we really need to get the word out there.
How many people read the back of the Roundup bottle?
Nerds like me. And,
I've never read the back of a Roundup bottle.
well,
We
it
don't read a
also
lot of
says
bottle
it also says you should leave a 3 to 5 foot buffer zone between any water body and where you're going to spray. And so I noticed some places, if you look, there's a dead ring around every little lake and little pond. And they're spraying all the way up to the water, and you can't do that. You need to follow the direction. You can't put that in there. Now you're going to affect your fish. You're going to, like I said, you have to have seagrasses and aquatic plants. That's what puts the oxygen in the water for the fish. So you don't want to kill all of your aquatic plants and your beneficial algae.
Okay, so the vinegar mix that Rexanne brought up at the council meeting, she was the first person that I ever heard
That
like
is
vinegar.
great stuff. Yes.
What is that concoction?
I actually used that in my experiment that we had published in the paper. You can buy the vinegar from Walmart. It's 5% acidic. And then you can buy regular table salt. It's about 40 cents for, And
You buy what?
regular table salt.
Table salt,
You don't have
okay.
to use Epsom salts or rock salt. You can just get cheapo, generic, plain salt.
And white vinegar?
Plain white vinegar, generic vinegar, and that's less than $2. The salt is nothing. And then you put in a squirt of the Blue Dawn, phosphate-free Blue Dawn. And that's only to act as a surfactant to get it to stick to the
Now,
leaves.
when you said Blue Dawn, you mean dish
Yeah.
detergent
Any
or
kind of
something like
just-
that?
Yeah, just a little squirt.
By the way, if anyone has any questions, you can type them right in the Facebook page there. And your dad's watching from Orlando, and Chad checked in and said the Public Works Department and wherever he lives, where does he live in Michigan? They stopped using it up there.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
was reading L.A. County, Colorado, Maryland, lots of, not the entire state, but lots of places within those states.
That's
Texas,
great.
There's been
Very
a lot
good
of the
to hear.
bans. I think it is great. I think it is more to your point of the impetus might be that they're worried about getting sued.
Yes,
but
liability.
Still, good.
Well, there's
all the
been
way around.
3 multi-million-dollar lawsuits, 3 different areas, 3 different judges found Monsanto liable. And I also heard, which I have found no basis for, but I've also heard that Monsanto knew about the link and didn't advertise that.
I did read some information that said that they had something to do with ghostwriters that were producing some of the research stuff. So,
Yeah.
that's
Who knows?
that's for them to figure out and levy and judge. But like you said, the concern here is the marine
Yes.
life and water.
One more thing about the vinegar concoction. Austin uses, for the town, they get these great big 55-gallon barrels of the 30% vinegar, which you can buy at a hardware store. And when we did our experiment on the grass, Austin's worked the best, I think because his was real strong.
okay, what did I miss? Who's Austin?
He works for Public Works.
Okay.
And,
So you guys were testing this out. What's the mix like? How do you know? Does it matter? You just throw it all together?
Okay, you have a 1-gallon sprayer.
Okay.
So you put a little less than that in there. It's you can get the gallons of the vinegar at the store, or you can get the 30% at a hardware store. So you don't want to fill it up all the way because then you put the salt in, it's going to overflow. So you want to maybe put your salt in first and half vinegar, and then shake it. Let the salt
Do
dissolve.
I need a mask or anything
Oh, no.
to cover my
No.
face in
It's
case
vinegar and salt.
Hey, just want to be safe. I want to make sure. I want to make sure
You
the
wanna
dog.
be safe.
I want to make sure the dog doesn't get injured.
you want to be safe, but you're going to continue to use
There,
the
why does
Roundup
the dog
until-
just came in? Why does the dog smell like vinegar?
It smells like salad dressing. Put your salt in, put some vinegar in there, shake it up, fill it to the top, put a little squirt, invert it a few times, and you're done. And that costs less than $2 a gallon. And I want to bring up that a gallon of ready-made Roundup is over $22
Yeah,
a
oh,
gallon.
yeah.
So this is 1/10 of the price.
Wow.
It's perfectly harmless. Your weeds will die. I proved that in my 3-week
Let
experiment.
me ask you
that
a question. Why don't people just pull weeds?
Why don't you?
Well,
I do. I pull a lot of
Then
weeds,
why
and
do
because I can't keep up with them. There's so many of them. I try to
go.
pull a lot more lately, especially now when the rainy season starts.
Well, if
it's
you
crazy.
mulch, you really don't have a lot of weeds, and unless the wind will blow them. 2 inches of mulch usually takes care of that. Another thing, people say, I can't, my knees hurt, and I don't have time, it's too hot. Well, I called 3 different lawn companies, and they'll pull for you. So if you think, I'm not going to pay them, and the lawn company is going to lose money, they're going to sue, that's not true. You can tell them to pull your weeds. They can all charge you to spray organic, or you can pay a teenager. Heaven forbid a teenager should pull weeds. in
That
the heat.
is not happening in
Just
this time.
It's an idea.
Yeah, have you ever seen a teenager pulling weeds on this beach?
Or mowing a lawn.
Remember the old days?
Back in the old when we
That's
yeah,
right.
did it. Okay. I mean, I pull my own weeds, but I have to go out real early. But I enjoy yard work, and I don't have a TV, so
Right.
that's me.
Right. So it costs $2. You said $2 to make the
Less
concoction.
than $2 for a gallon,
All
and
right.
a gallon is going to do your whole yard. That's a lot.
And you're not cutting it with water. You're
Oh no!
it's straight.
And
okay.
people will say, "Well, they grow back. They grow back." Well, in the summer here, it's hot. It rains. You don't need fertilizer. The ground here is naturally high in phosphorus, and the rain, the air we breathe is 80% nitrogen. Rainwater has more nitrogen in it during the summer, so it's a naturally high source of nitrogen. So you're going to have weeds in the summer, but you need to spray. Every 3
Well,
weeks
when you
or
spray
so.
with
Anyway.
Roundup, it's coming back anyway. I've never
Right.
experienced
So,
Roundup
yeah.
permanently killing weeds in
No,
our
that's why
yard.
they're selling more and more
So
and
if
more
you
of it.
if you spray it and it rains right away, you don't really
Right.
have to worry about it. It's
Right.
salt's going into the. There's already salt in the water. It's not such a big deal, and it does take I don't know. Austin's formula worked overnight. His 30% vinegar.
The 30% vinegar.
I would
okay.
encourage you
Overnight.
His
So does more
worked.
vinegar mean it'll work faster?
Well, it was just such a strong concentration of the acetic acid. And it was funny. He texted me a picture with this little smiley face the next day because I was working at night, so I couldn't check till the next afternoon. And I just started laughing because overnight it worked. And I thought, I can't believe his worked so fast because I made the same solution with the regular, generic vinegar. You get at Walmart or Publix, and mine didn't work as fast.
Well, maybe he got a more expensive dish detergent than you.
No, he uses
No.
cinnamon oil.
Oh,
and
cinnamon
to
oil.
cover up
Wow.
the smell. It's kind of a strong smell, and you can smell it on the town
Were you
properties.
saying something about clove oil earlier?
Well, any kind of an oil is going to be a surfactant, and it also covers up the 30% vinegar is kind of strong.
Yeah.
So I
It
just
doesn't
wanted
last. It goes
I
away.
just wanted to say for the new people that are tuning in there's a lot of radio people tuning in that
Oh.
never have seen us before because I've never done this on our regular Facebook page. We're broadcasting live from Pete's Timeout on Fort Myers Beach. This is our 58th episode. Shannon Mapes is here. She is talking to us about Roundup. They're considering a Roundup ban on the beach because it's killing off the fish and it's killing
for the
it's
environment.
bad for the environment and hell. If we got rid of the straws, why not get rid of the Roundup? So that's what we're talking about. Every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock from Pete's Timeout is where we do our show.
This is why you were super prepared today because all your cronies were going to be on.
I'm not really that prepared. I forgot. I gave Shannon a list of questions, and then I forgot them. And look at her now.
got 'em
She's got
all.
like 50 pages worth of notes here.
I have notes.
So she's come totally
She is
prepared.
very
And what was I'm going to tell this story. She got here and she saw the computer and she's like, "Oh shit! Sorry." She's like, "Oh, I can't. It's going to be video. I thought it was a podcast." I said,
didn't
"Yeah,
know.
well, we do Facebook
I
and
would've
YouTube."
dressed up. I
And
got
then
my
it's the
hair.
beach. And then what did
Yeah.
What did you say about TV? And tell everybody you're totally disconnected.
Oh, I don't have internet. I don't have TV. I don't think people should pay to sit in front of a screen. Well, I don't. Want
So
to
your
pay
life
to
is-
sit in front of a
is-
screen. I don't have
you have
internet at my
peace.
house, and
You
I
have
have a
peace.
very peaceful house.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm a nerd and I spend a lot of time outside. I don't
So
know.
how did it? How did my email get through to you? It wasn't
Somebody
quick.
told me to check my email.
Okay, good.
I do have internet on
I
my
thought you were
phone, but
ignoring
I have
me.
very little data, so I don't want to be on there. And
Nice.
I have a bad neck, and I can't be doing this all the time on my phone. So I'm just saying.
And then
I live without it.
and somehow your husband got plantar fasciitis for 3 years. How did that happen?
Oh, just running like a crazy man every day.
And
It's
so
been
the
3
beach?
years?
Oh, he had it about 3 years ago. He had it for 3
Oh,
years, and he was miserable. Poor guy. He had to ride the bike like you, but
Yeah.
he doesn't like the bike, so he was not a happy guy. But
I
he's
have to
happy
tell you,
now.
I almost
He can
took
run.
I almost really crashed bad today on the island here. I was going a little too fast, and I didn't know there was going to be a pile of sand. I was behind the buoys there, whatever they call those things. What are they're not
The
buoys.
buoys? You
What are
were
those
in
red
the
things
water
called?
on your
I wasn't in the water. What are those things called? The pylons. And I was trying to stay away from the traffic, and there was this giant thing of sand. It was at least 15 feet long, and I had to hold on for dear life, and my bike started vibrating. I thought I was going down.
You know that could end badly.
Yeah, well, I know how to fall. Some people don't know how to fall, but anyway.
If
so
I could just add one more thing.
yes,
I'm sorry, I'm such a nerd.
no.
I don't want to say that the Roundup kills the fish. Roundup,
Well, I tend to exaggerate things, so people
Well-
know not to pay any attention to what I say. But let's be
for-
accurate.
Yes.
Roundup can kill the beneficial algae and the seagrasses, which add oxygen to the water. But the breakdown products of Roundup can feed the red tide, which we had horrible here last year. And the red tide can kill the fish. So if you kind of, yes.
Can we get you a beer, by the way?
No,
You
I
sure?
don't drink, thanks.
Oh, okay.
But just for an aquatic environment, I mean, maybe you could use Roundup on crops. I don't know. I use all organic food because I don't want any GMO and organic.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, really, we're going down this road. What's it good for? If you can do it, if you can
Well-
kill weeds for $2 worth of vinegar, why even
Right.
spend the $30 on the Roundup? So let's get to where we are with this. Like, where is the ban at?
Well, we have member statements at the end of our meeting, and I said I'd like to pursue looking at getting a ban for Roundup. So we did. I did my research. So it's been drafted. It was shown to the town council, and it had. We went to a meeting and planning session. We talked about it, and it's going for a first reading, first hearing, and then it has a second hearing, and then they're going to vote on it after that.
Oh,
And do you, in that process, do you make suggestions about replacements, or
That's,
is that something they'll look into?
We have done that, and we
Okay.
have proposed. Town council can ask for more data. They can
Okay.
ask for revisions. They can ask questions. I actually showed town council all of my data, and I wrote them all an email with all of my links in it if they wanted to do any more research on themselves. The only feedback I've heard is that there is a question about the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma link, which we could take out of the ordinance because that's really not our
Right.
goal, because
Right.
we're only interested in the water quality here. We're not looking at that link at all. So
And are the prices, the cost for an alternative comparable to?
Oh yeah,
to-
even the Avenger, which you can get at the Home Depot website. That's where I had to get it because for some reason some of the Amazon sites said they can't ship it to Florida. I couldn't get it at any store. I had to just find a organic alternative online. So even that comes concentrated, and when you dilute it out, it's still about $2 a gallon, and it smells wonderful. Citrus oil. Your whole yard smells nice, and it's just citrus oil. You can get all over your hands.
It's called Avenger.
Avenger.
And who makes that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Sorry.
So Google Avenger weed killer.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you
Organic
can make
weed
your
killer.
own with the 30%. You
Right.
can get at a hardware store, and that works great.
So what is the objection, or are there any objections that you heard other than what you mentioned about the?
No, I have heard that there are issues with how to. Some council members have said they don't like to pass ordinances that they can't enforce. So I have said, well, we can have a feedback where you send a letter to all the lawn maintenance companies and you have them sign it, and then you send them back a sticker that's says FMB or something, and they put it on their truck, and then they know that they cannot spray Roundup on this island. And that way, code enforcement, or if people like me who ask people what they're spraying, I do that actually.
So
Right.
do they actually think they can enforce the noise ordinance?
I don't know.
Can they?
I would
mean,
hope so.
this
Sometimes
seems
the
like a
noise
little
bothers
more.
me.
I know, but they that's a whole other story. That I'm just.
Well, I
it's
think-
I mean,
I
they
mean,
have
if
that.
it- I
With
can
it,
have
if
a-
that's one of the objections that they can't pass an ordinance that they don't think they can enforce,
Wow.
well, the noise ordinance is not real easy to enforce because they have to call the sheriff, and the sheriff has to have one of those
Right,
machines,
right,
and then
yeah.
they have to still be doing the noise when the sheriff comes back.
Right.
And the
I mean, I
sheriff.
think
so
if you were-
this seems
right.
more important than the noise ordinance
I think
to
that
some.
that's a good idea. At least they've been informed. They've said they've been
And they've
informed,
acknowledged that
and
they
they've
read
acknowledged
it, and they know they can't
Now-
spray it here. And this is also kind of like the straw ban, which we were asked to look at as well from town council. And we did draft that legislation for them as well. This is kind of like that in that it's kind of we want other people to also look at this, and it'll be a domino effect. And as you know, Marco and Sanibel. Also, I think the entire state of Hawaii and most California beaches don't have straws. So it's not just us.
How freaked out were you when you saw what was going on in the legislature? Like they almost reversed that whole thing.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I don't understand that. There must be some lobbies in the straw
Sure,
business.
sure.
I don't know.
Right,
I don't
straws.
understand.
The straw lobby's a big
That
business,
doesn't
right?
make
It's
any
just
sense.
Big
I don't
straws.
big plastic. Hey, so
Yeah.
on to that note, what about plastic bottles, caps?
Well, once again, that comes down to how do you enforce that? I know that sometimes on a boat, if the boat's going fast, stuff flies off of it. I mean,
Right.
you wonder how all this gets in the water. Whenever I walk, I bring a plastic bag and I pick up trash. Other people do.
Well, they're thinking about getting rid of the plastic bags too, like at Publix, right?
Yes, actually, and I have a bag here that the.
Oh yes,
actually-
Bill was holding that up
Yes.
at one of the meetings. Now, what's
Yes.
this all about?
Well, this is just one of the, like you just said.
That's
plastic
very
bags.
nice.
So we're
That
trying to
is
encourage-
nice.
I can actually give you my bag if you would
Oh,
like.
n-
This,
Well, I don't think I'd walk
smart.
around with that, but it's a nice
I
lady's
like it.
bag.
We came up with a.
Well, it's more of a lady's bag. What am I going to use that bag for?
It's
What
not
would I?
a gender
Oh, so you go to-
specific bag.
Oh, come on.
Says Farmers
The
Market.
guys aren't going to walk around with that bag.
Yes, they
What-
are.
for what though?
To pick up garbage.
Well,
that
it's-
you
That's
would
not a
use-
garbage
No,
bag.
that you would use to go to the grocery store.
Okay. Well, I
Instead
would
of the
use it there.
plastic
Well, I would use it there at the I'm
at
not
the
walking
bag.
around
It's
with that
super
thing on my
cute.
shoulder.
It's very strong too.
Look,
It's very
at the
good quality,
look.
and you can wash
If
it.
I walk around the beach with this on my shoulder like this, I mean, what's going to happen?
You look.
It looks
it's-
ridiculous on
it
me.
doesn't. It
It's a very nice
doesn't.
bag, though.
Yes,
It-
okay,
it
well,
is.
I'll keep this one then. Although-
No, she'd love it. How much
I
do those
don't-
bags cost?
We're actually giving them out for free. The
Wow.
town, yeah, footed the bill for our first order.
They're so cute.
Yeah, you are.
We're
I was
gonna be
joking.
getting-
I'm joking around. I
We're
love
gonna be
it.
getting sponsors for our next order, and this is just part of what we do. We're trying to.
How much is the sponsorship?
FMB.
It's different levels.
If you're going to hold the
Different levels.
microphone, hold it so she.
Different levels of sponsorship. If you wanted a huge, excuse me.
Do you have the rate card on you?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Another visit.
So the before we get off the subject, she's got so much information, dear.
I know.
I'm going to get to the big question soon, folks. So don't tune out. I got the big question coming up. So they've already had one hearing on the ordinance.
We did the meeting and planning session, and then we had Ray and I went and spoke at one. I don't think it was the first hearing. I think it was maybe that was the M&P session.
Okay, so they're going to have two public hearings and then a vote. I don't think
that's
that
usually how it works.
That council's passing this, though.
Well, then you can have public comments,
Yeah.
and you can
I can't-
council members can ask for more information. And
I
we can
can't
find
see
out.
somebody coming up, not even Leon, getting up to the podium and saying, "Wait a second, I need my roundup." I
Right.
mean, it doesn't make any
And
sense.
that's kind of what I mean. There's kind of a mindset. Some people want to have perfect lawns, and if you have to truck in dirt and truck in sod and put in a sprinkler system.
Yeah.
Really? We're on an
Right.
island. You know, the ecosystem here is so different from Michigan and Ohio, and you really have to get into your island mindset. And Xeriscape is,
Yeah.
you know.
What is
native-
Xeriscape.
What does
That's
that
what
mean?
we need to do.
It's using the native landscaping, and you don't irrigate, and that's, you know, right in front of Town Hall, which is a great example. It's all native plants. They've got some crushed shells. The Mound House is good. The Mound House parking lot, crushed shells, native plants.
Yep.
You don't have to water. You don't have to fertilize. There's great drainage. That's really what we all need to be focused on for runoff, for water quality, for Estero Bay, for our lifestyle, for our beaches.
Sounds expensive. I don't know. You know how many
really-
shells we would need for the Ryan Mansion? Quite a few.
Oh, please.
Well, you can have native grasses and ground covers, and you can still have your
But
I
how do
call
you-
it your green square.
But how do you
have your lawn.
how do you keep the grass alive if you're not
Well,
if you're
go
not
to the
watering
Mound
it?
House right now. They haven't watered at all.
I need to go to the Mound House. I know.
It's a great example. Mound House, I love it. And Allison recently switched over to the town's organic spray. So, yay! Thank you.
There you go.
They haven't watered all winter. It's it's been dry season, and they don't fertilize, and it looks gorgeous. The
Yeah.
grass is green.
That would
it
work
looks
for
fine.
us because our sprinkler system doesn't work. So,
So
There you
listen,
go.
Shannon, you've been on this. What's it called again?
Marine.
Sorry,
Resource
I have a
Task
bad
Force.
memory. The Marine Task Forces Committee for 3 years now,
Yeah.
right? Have you been the chairman at times?
No, just
The vice chair.
Recently, vice
So
chair.
listen, 3 years on one committee's enough. Now,
You think so?
with all the knowledge that you have and all the time that
Oh,
you
here
put
we
in,
go.
why don't you consider running for the council?
Oh my gosh, because they think of other things besides ecology.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of
No.
in that zone of
We've
science
we've,
only.
we've gone back and forth on different things, and you were right on it. You are. Yeah, I
They
think
have
you
to
should.
think about
yeah,
property variances and all boring things, and
But
they have
you're-
to listen to.
but you said you're retired.
Oh my gosh!
You have
well,
time.
Actually, I got so bored I went back to work. So I do work.
Well, you could
PRN
quit
at
though. But you
Hub
could quit, right?
Lavender.
You don't really need to
I
work, right?
suppose
Sounds like
I
it.
could quit.
Don't
you
let
should.
him.
No,
talk
we
you
need
into
good.
anything.
We need real good people on
Type
the.
A, and I have this hyperactive,
She-
and I need to be busy. And
Dear,
I love
you know
a
how great
schedule.
she would be on the council.
She is happy
gosh.
where she is.
I really
But 3
enjoy
years.
the
Listen,
Marine
there's a
Resource
there's a
Center.
way things go. Like you're on a committee for a certain amount of years, and then you move up, and then you could be the mayor.
I would probably make people too mad. I'd get
How-
all those.
you?
Well, because
Please.
my
Yeah.
way or the highway kind of thing. I guess I don't know. I'm
Really?
really more ecologically minded, and
So what's
it's
wrong with
not-
having an ecologist on the
Well,
council?
because there's so much more to do with regard to Marine Resource Task Force. There's a lot of people don't know about native plants. A lot of people don't know the ecology is so different and so fragile. So there's a lot of education to be done,
Where
and
can
I could
people
keep doing.
go to get that education?
Oh, Florida-friendly yard program on the internet. You
you
can
go.
call the extension office for the University of Florida system. That's where I got my soil tested. There are a ton of programs through the extension office that you can go. There's All Native Nursery on Center Street right by Page Field, and they have all kinds of gardening programs. It's all native plants. I love them down there. That's
Now-
where I get most of my stuff.
Now, did I ask all the questions that I sent you and forgot to print out? Okay.
Yes.
I think
yeah,
so.
I think so. Did you have anything else in your in the book that you brought there, or your notebook there that you want to make sure we know?
I just wanted to thank you for doing this. I think
Oh.
that there's a whole lot of information that can be, really needs to be. You just have to stick with it. You have to stick with telling people. We had an environmental symposium last year. It was our first ever. That was great. Hopefully, we'll keep doing those and have more attendance.
Where was that?
It was at Bay Oaks. We had
Okay.
Turtle Time. We talked. We had.
We love the turtle
town
lady.
I know.
I know.
The town ecologist talked. We had.
There's a town ecologist.
Yes, Ray. She is our.
Oh, Ray
she is-
Burns.
mhm,
Yes.
She is our town ecologist. She
We
has
almost
a
had her
master's
on
degree.
once. Long story.
She's
No, she wanted to
very
come
smart.
on. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's got
yeah.
a master's degree. I really like her. She's very
Wow.
busy. She needs an assistant. She does turtle lighting. She
Yeah.
does the counts bird nests in the critical wildlife area. And she's our liaison. She's our advisor from the town. When we meet, she's there with us. So,
Nice.
yes.
Did they schedule another one of those symposiums yet?
Oh, probably. We will this year. End of this year.
Great.
It was last fall.
Okay, so you meet every second Wednesday, or
Yes.
of-
Anyone can come. We have public comment, even if you
but
just want to listen.
your meeting is not it's not on Facebook or YouTube or
No.
anything, right?
No.
Like all the other meetings
The
are.
minutes are on the town website, and our agenda is
Okay.
posted earlier. If you want to look at the agenda and see if there's anything you'd like to come and listen to or comment on.
Well, why don't they put yours on too? I mean, it just seems like it would make sense to have
My agenda.
your meeting.
No, the
like
meeting
Oh.
on the.
so I don't have to drive all the way from
Um,
Gateway. I could see what's going on.
We record it, I think, just for the woman
Minutes.
to make.
Yeah, yeah.
So. I
So
don't know.
okay, so do you know when it's coming before the council again, or we don't know that yet?
It should be in the town website when it's good. I mean,
Okay,
it should
in the
any time
minutes.
since the ordinance is ready to go, and then any changes that we made, it'll go for the.
So if there's anybody listening or watching that wants to get more information on what to do with the concoction with vinegar, or they want to get rid of their Roundup, or they want to get in touch with the committee, how do they do that? Go to town hall, or because you don't have, there's no way to connect to you. You're totally disconnected.
Our town ecologist Ray has an email,
Okay.
and that's available on the town website.
Right.
You can go to the town staff. I think it's Ray
Yeah.
at
yeah,
fmb.gov.
all those. Yeah, that's easy to find once you get
And
on
then
there.
Ray can forward it to one of us.
Cool.
She's really busy, so it
Yeah.
would be fine if she does that. We don't mind that.
So will you at least, before you go, will you at least say you'll think about running for the council? At least think
heard that
about it.
before.
Oh, see that? I'm not
And
the
then
only
let it-
one.
and
See
then
that?
let
I'm
it
not the
drop
only
it.
one.
I
Hey, don't ever rule it out. That's all you need to say, and I'll shut up.
She'll never rule it out.
I didn't ask you to say it. She's ruling it out, though. I think she does. She's happy on. That's cool. Well, don't ever
Is
quit
it?
that committee then. Not really. I want her on the council,
Jeez.
or at least running.
As long as
We're
we
trying to
can-
block somebody else from running, but when we have a great candidate like you,
I think there's a lot to do.
For sure.
With education and everything that everybody does matters. Because one person thinks, oh, what I do doesn't matter. It does.
Yeah.
And
Right.
there's a lot of education that needs to be done so people realize that.
are you happy with how the state is starting to handle the water now and all that too?
Oh, I don't think you could ever do too much. I mean, I know there's funding here and funding there, and there's projects going on.
Still a ways to go.
Yeah, I think fertilizer residentially is,
Bad news.
I mean, really,
Go with the shells. Try and figure out the shells.
The native plants.
Native
Seriously.
plants.
Yeah.
Those are fake plants, right? You don't have to
No.
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
Native.
Anything else you want to add, Shannon?
I can't with you.
I think we've covered it.
All right,
Thank
cool.
You very
Well,
much for having
thank
me
you so
on.
much
This
for
has
coming
been
on.
great.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you,
Putting
dear.
up with him.
I will let you guys say
Okay.
goodbye, and I'll read
good.
our sponsors' information before we
Alrighty.
move on. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. Well, her 20-minute interview turned into 45 minutes because it was so smooth and easy. So thank you very much, Shannon Mapes, everybody, and you can reach her through Ray Burns on the town council's website. And I did want to tell you about our cool sponsor, FMB Designs and Remodeling. And let's see, Nikki and Ed run FMB Designs and Remodeling, and they are longtime beach residents, everybody. And they've been doing the design and remodeling stuff for a very long time. If you need anything remodeled in your home, I want you to give Nikki and Ed a call today. If you need a kitchen remodeled, a bathroom remodeled, maybe your living room, your living area is boring you to death, just call FMB Designs and Remodeling. We have some before and after pictures on our Facebook page. And for those of you that are watching or paying attention here, the before and after pictures are on the Beach Talk Radio Facebook page. You should go over there and like it. That's usually where we do the show from. We don't usually do it on our personal page, but we figured, hey, what the hey? Let's see if we can grab in some other listeners and some other viewers. We're also on YouTube today, and we're on iHeartRadio Live. We're on Spotify Live, and we have our own app that you can download for free from the Apple App Store. So you can go over to the Beach Talk Radio page because that's where we'll be doing our future shows. That's where we usually hang out. We also have a YouTube page. But FMB Designs and Remodeling, Ed and Nikki are super cool, and we appreciate them being a sponsor of our show. And we suggest you give them a call and just tell them you love them, or tell them, yeah, I need a new kitchen or I need a new bathroom, and that'll be awesome. So the other thing I wanted to mention to everybody was you might see that bright yellow tent-ish kind of stage behind us, and that is brand new too. John Lalo. You have to sit back down, dear. This is the Kim and Ed show, not the Ed show. John Lalo went out and got a new stage area for the events, the bands that they have down here, which they have. You can't sit that far away. You got to get on the screen.
I have to sit next to you now?
Yeah, come on.
You're forcing
We're doing
it.
a show here.
All right.
And John wants everybody to know that if you're fond of the bands that come down, or if you like to see the entertainment.
Yeah, can you see it right over my
Yes.
shoulder? It is
Ladies,
so
would you
nice.
like to try and win a
It's
T-shirt?
so really nice. Oh,
Come on down. I want to try and win a T-shirt.
I
Come
didn't.
on.
I thought you were
Have
gonna
a seat. Oh.
I thought you were gonna have this set up in advance. I don't.
couldn't. Would anybody here like to try and win a T-shirt? Do some trivia. Fort Myers Beach trip. Come on, sir. You got nothing to lose. I'll buy breakfast for you. Oh. We're gonna.
I got the best gift. I got the bag.
All right, you got the bag. Now, John wanted to mention that he's taking donations for help with the new staging area. Which,
Yeah, it is really pretty.
It's very pretty.
It
They
looks much better.
yeah. They have
Much
Times Square
improved.
on the top, and they have the logos on the sides, which is very nice. Boy, Shannon is like wicked smart.
I know she is.
She knows
She's
all
very,
about the
very-
water
yes.
stuff.
And lots of other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
And
want
she
to
was
see
so-
how smart you are?
Oh, you got the trivia?
I do.
You're gonna
but
try
I
and
gotta
quiz me
get
now.
them.
All right, you get the
and-
questions.
All right.
And we're gonna try. What we're trying to do is give away some T-shirts down here to somebody. But ladies, would you like to try and win a T-shirt? You see, every time I ask somebody, they just turn around.
No, because people don't want to be verbally accosted.
I know, but I don't know any other way to do that.
I think you should have had it set up in advance.
What am I going to do? Make somebody sit next to me for 45 minutes?
Make a sign-up sheet.
Let's see.
You could ask your people at
Would
home.
you like to try and win a T-shirt? Would you like a free T-shirt? We'll do Fort Myers Beach trivia. Have a seat. Anybody know Fort Myers Beach trivia? They're from out of town. All right, go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay.
Do I get a free T-shirt? I think you have the wrong microphone, but go ahead. That's all right.
Can you hear me now?
You feel relaxed?
I do.
Got your shoes off? Would you like a
So-
drink?
I have my new jam, club soda and lime. I'm loving it.
Sounds yummy.
So, who were the Native Americans that were on Estero Island?
Who? And if you know the answer, you can type it in the Facebook page. The Native Americans that were on the Estero Island. I haven't the foggiest
Before
idea.
Americans.
I haven't
what's the
foggiest- I
name?
don't even. I couldn't even name 3 Indian tribes right now. I haven't.
Oh
I'm
my
not a.
Gosh, we
there-
just
I didn't know
had
you were.
this last week.
We didn't have that last week.
Yes, we were talking about it. We've talked about them very many times.
Indians.
Yes.
I don't ever remember having a
Anita was
conversation.
talking
oh,
about it,
Anita was.
remember?
That's right. Anita was
The
saying she was
Calusa.
talking about dead Indians.
That's what she was saying. She didn't think people would care about the Calusa Indians, but they do, and that's
See what you
the-
started, Anita? Oh, she
That's-
got it. Nanette got it. Oh, look at all these people. They all
Nice.
know who it is. Chad knew who it was. Nikki knew who it was. All right,
All
you
right,
ask the
here's
next
an
one.
easier.
You
I'll
ask
ask
the
them
next one.
all
See how many people
because
type it
you
in
have
there.
none.
And I know there might be a little delay, but those people were quick on the take there. Go
What
ahead.
is the highest point on Fort Myers Beach?
The highest point on Fort Myers Beach. I would guess the bridge. If I'm
No, I
wrong,
don't mean that. Yeah, the land.
that bridge is pretty high. If I stand on the top of that bridge, I could see everything.
Oh,
Let's see if
no.
does anybody
this is
know
an easy one because it sort of goes with the first question.
the Mound House?
Yep.
Somebody typed it in there.
Yep.
Nikki, you are super smart. Our sponsor there, dear, is super smart. She knows all the answers. All right, what's the next one?
All right.
I can't get rid of this.
This is an easy one too. What was Estero Island called before it was called Estero Island?
Somebody guessed Diamond Head for the last one, but that was wrong. What was Estero Island called before it was called Estero Island? I haven't the foggiest idea. Where'd you look all this stuff up, by the way?
Wikipedia and what I got a lot from was the Island Sandpaper
Okay.
does a series, a history series. Yes, The Sands of Time.
See, you
there was
gotta dig-
a lot of stuff.
You got to dig deep in that
And
newspaper
he's-
sometimes because I don't like where was that?
I just Googled it.
Oh, not in the
And it
sand.
all-
It came up on the sandpaper
Yeah.
when you Googled it.
Yeah, from previous.
Okay.
previous
I
issues.
was going to
Yeah.
say I didn't see it. All right,
Did you,
so
did you get the name?
what was the question again? I got to have a drink.
We've had this
Sorry.
conversation before. See, the Roundup has affected your brain, and you have no memory now.
Dear, I don't spray the Roundup in my face. Would you
You
guys? Would
breathe
you like
it.
to try and win a T-shirt? Do you know Fort Myers Beach trivia? It's super easy. All right. Have a nice day. Have a good holiday.
Leave
I'm trying to be
people
nice to
alone.
people. Look, they're not even walking close to me now. All right. What was the question again? Do we have the right answer?
What is the name? What was Estero Island called before it was called Estero Island?
What was Estero Island called? Nanette said Estero, but that can't.
Crescent Beach.
Crescent Beach.
That was the first name of this area.
Well, isn't there a Crescent Beach now?
I know. They kept that little piece.
Listen,
but that's
you
what it
better
was
back
called.
off with the attitude with me.
You.
Be nice. Be nice
Okay.
to me. It's a holiday. All right?
So,
Question number 4, everybody.
there were some hurricanes.
Nikki knew that too.
That
Nikki,
messed-
get off of Google. That's probably what she's doing. She's Googling everything.
There were a couple hurricanes that really blasted this area back in the 20s. Can somebody-
1920s. You're asking me about the
The
1920s
year?
now.
And if they can come up with the name. Now this is hard because this was before they were giving them like people names.
What's the question? What's the name of the hurricane?
What year were the two really big hurricanes in the 20s?
Well, so you have a chance of getting it like 1
Yeah.
out of 9
Yeah.
between 1920 and 1929.
Yep.
I haven't the foggiest idea. 1924.
Nope, not even. Yeah, and you missed. No, 1921.
1921. The name of the hurricane was?
Well, again, they didn't. They refer to it as the Tampa or the Tarpon because they weren't giving them human names. And then 1926.
All right, come
was
on.
the Miami one, and it redid this whole area.
Okay, come on.
All right.
Come up with something. Give me
You'll
a better
know
question.
This one. When did Fort Myers Beach incorporate?
Oh, boy.
Come on, Anita.
1995.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
December 31st.
See, ask me political questions, and I have a better chance of getting them right.
Okay. Who was the first person who homesteaded here?
Who was the first? What?
Yeah.
The first person to live on the island?
Yeah, they got a homestead.
Thomas Edison.
No.
Tracy Gore. No? Tracy Gore's family.
No.
Dennis Bobarino.
Robert Gilbert,
Who would know that? Now, where was his house?
Mound House area.
He lived in the Mound House.
I think he lived over there.
Wow.
Yep. All right.
I wonder if
first
he wanted the
hotel-
sidewalk. First hotel was Pink Shell. No? Lonnie Kai.
My resources tell me,
Yeah.
and that's not coming from the Magic 8 Ball.
Does anybody know what the first hotel was? Ford.
Nope.
Ford Hotel. Nikki's behind, so she's missing all the questions now.
Winkler Hotel and Pier.
The Winkler Hotel. Now I have
Which
a question.
then I think changed the name to the Beach Hotel around 1912, and then it was demolished in 1975 for what reason?
Hurricane.
To build condos on
Okay,
the beach.
Of course.
Oh, you'll know this one.
All right, political
What's
question
the
coming.
only and oldest RV park?
The only and oldest is the Red Coconut.
Yep.
Thank
Do you know
you.
who first started it?
Yes, it's shoot.
Starts with a V.
It's V for Victor.
Virgil Voorhees.
I did not know that. I wonder if he was related to Debbie Voorhees, a
know.
beach member, a beach resident. Who owns it now? Bet you
That
don't
I
know
don't
that.
know.
See that? You had to go back to the 1920s to stump me. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
All right. So there was
How many questions did you look up? I'm getting bored.
There was a famous eatery, one of the first eateries in 1930, Nettie's Place. And what was their thing that they served? They were world famous for.
Nettie's Place was Nettie's Place was world famous for something on the beach. I mean, dear, I don't even think anyone on the council
Nettie's
answers.
Spaghetti.
Oh, of course. I thought it was a
And
breakfast place.
Listen,
Yeah.
Nettie's was changed
Yeah.
and reorganized.
Mel's
and
Diner.
No, it was the Surf Club, and now it is called the begins with an M
the Big M.
on the beach
I don't know.
bar.
What?
A bar on the beach that begins with an M.
I don't know. What is it? Come on.
The Mermaid.
Okay. Well, the mermaid won't be there much longer, I guess, huh? right?
We've been hearing
I know, we've been
for
hearing that for a
while.
long time, so
Do you have
who
any
knows?
inside information on that?
I think that I do, but I can't share it with you at this moment. I've been sworn to secrecy. So, anyway, are you done? Or do you have more?
I have more, but
Because
you're-
there, I mean, really, you went overboard. You have to make them. People would have been. Nobody would have worn a shirt today. You can't make them that hard.
you got the
I have
RV
easy
one.
ones.
Well, what do you have?
Like, how much does it cost to park?
oh my.
Who's the
Lord.
mayor now? I mean, you have to make it easy. People want to have fun. They want to be able to win. You made it to the point where we'd be going home with the same batch of T-shirts that we came with.
Oh, and look at this. We are going home
That's
with the same
right.
batch because you didn't plan for people to answer.
I don't want to harass people when they're walking by.
Yes,
I tried
you
a
do.
couple
You
times.
harass people all the time.
This guy looks drunk. Maybe he'd do
and
it.
no, I think he's got an issue with his feet.
Oh, yeah. He's got plantar
And-
fasciitis. So I want to make sure we mention that we were at Doc Ford's on Thursday night,
That was
and we
a
got a
hoot.
nice update on the boat races, and those
Yes.
things are coming along swimmingly. And we're going to have those guys back on in 2 weeks to talk about the boat races. Now, I did want to mention that if you plan to go to the boat races and you are going to get a hotel room, if you don't book the hotel room now, you're going to be out of luck because they're already talking about having those hotel rooms filling up because people are coming from out of town. And it's going to be the other thing that they were I don't know if I should mention any of this, but I'm going to. Like, they're going to see if even some of the people that live down here could charge people to park on their yard and stuff like that so they can make extra money. That's how much.
Well, parking is a big issue.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to trolley people over from that lot, and they're going to have to find, different
no.
ways.
I think that they're going to encourage people to park at that huge lot where you pick up the trolleys now.
Well,
There's
that's what I
plenty of
just
space
said,
there.
but whatever. So they're saying like there's going to be 700,000 people here. I mean, maybe not that many, but it's going to be a lot. And it's such a major project that it's going to be cool. Like it'll start
gonna be
on
cool.
Thursday and go, I don't know, like to Sunday. It's going to have a parade and
Like a boat parade.
down. Yeah, they're trying to figure out where to put the route for the boat. The parade's going to be somewhere in.
Oh, like a parade on
So
the street?
to show off all the kids and stuff what the boats look like. So that was fun. You got to hobnob with everybody. It was good to see
Yes.
everybody.
The food was fantastic at Doc Ford's, and I was sitting there saying what a great time we had on Mother's Day at the Dixie
Hello, sir.
Fish House.
Would you
and,
like to try and win a T-shirt? All right, have a seat. Very nice. Are you from here?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. We have our first
We're gonna
contestant of the
ask
day.
your
Everybody,
questions.
let's see. All you need to do, sir, have a seat. Speak
Well,
right into the microphone. Very nice.
first,
You're the first contestant.
What's your name?
Bob?
Nice to meet you, Bob. And you are a resident here, part-time resident?
I own the
full-time?
place, yeah, just down the...
Your name is Bob, but you spell it backwards, right?
Sometimes I do, yeah.
I heard that Howie Mandel was doing jokes, and people thought that was funny when he did it.
It's not funny when you do it or he does it.
Okay.
It
So-
sounds the same, though, either way.
Where are you from,
It's true.
Bob?
I'm in Michigan most of the time, but I have a place down here. So
Okay. What do you do for a living?
Work at a nuclear power plant.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Where? Where?
It's
I'll just
undisclosed.
leave it at that in Michigan.
No
Undisclosed.
kidding. They have a nuclear power
There's three
plant
of them in Michigan.
Wow, I didn't know that. Now, do you use Roundup around the buildings there?
No.
No.
There you
Okay.
go.
I mean, the kind of runoff they're having, they wouldn't worry about Roundup, right?
I think they're
That's
well
pretty cool. So, are
contained.
you like a nuclear physicist or something?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Wow. So, how many years of college is that?
I've been at the plant for almost 40 years, 38 years.
Dang.
Wow.
So you must have a
There.
big ass house down here, man, right?
I wish.
All right.
I've got a condo. It's
If
nice.
he's making you uncomfortable,
No,
you
he
can
looks
just
fine. There, he's
say,
from Michigan.
"All right."
Nobody feels I'm making her uncomfortable because she thinks I'm making you uncomfortable. The fact that he sat
You're
down.
so intrusive.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the first question: Who is the current mayor of Fort Myers Beach? Do, 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 do.
Those are going to be tough questions, aren't they?
No, this is an easy one. if you follow the local politics.
Yeah, I know it just changed here. About a
Yes,
year
it
ago.
did. That's
Less than a
close
year ago,
enough.
but
We'll
yeah.
give you half a point for that.
Okay.
Anita
I blame
Saracita.
you. Yeah, I know.
Do you
it's
remember
late,
the
but
previous mayor's name? It's okay if you don't.
I don't remember. I mean, I
Okay.
do follow the local news. But I
Now,
don't
who's your
know
favorite
his name.
team in college?
College. Spartans.
Okay.
Michigan
You
State,
get
yeah.
full points for that, by the way. You get
Yeah,
full
okay,
credit
good.
for that. Okay. What is the name? If you don't get this, this will be bad. What is the name of the resort planning to be built on the island famous for a parrot?
Margaritaville.
Very nice.
Nice.
Ding, 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 ding. Do you want to try and ask him one of your impossible to answer questions,
No,
wife?
mine were not that
They're way impossible.
All right. Who or what was the name of the Native Americans that first inhabited this area?
I know there's a casino built after him just south of here.
There's a casino built after the Calusa Indians.
Calusa? The
There
Calusa
you go.
Indians?
The Calusa
That's right.
Indians.
You can't.
Yeah.
You're such a cheater. Cut it out. All right, I'm going back to the easy ones. What is the name of the restored house museum on Fort Myers Beach that rhymes with round?
The Mound House.
Very nice. You see, these are fun questions, dear. Yours are impossible.
Mine are not impossible. You're impossible.
What was the restaurant that is no longer on Fort Myers Beach but still has a location on Captiva that was known to be haunted? This is a little tough. I don't know the answer to this. I mean, I know it because somebody helped me with it.
I don't know.
Mucky Duck.
Mucky Duck?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know anything about that? Have
I
you?
think I've been to that restaurant over there. I
Okay.
didn't realize there was one
I've
here,
never
though.
been there.
Yeah.
All right. What was the name of the shop on Estero Boulevard that had live bathing suit models?
I'd like to know that one, but
Somebody sent me that one. It's called Sunskins. You ever heard of that?
Sunskins? I have not.
I'd never heard of that one either. All right. He's thinking of. She said you were thinking of the Seminoles for the casino.
Oh, right.
Is that who you're thinking of?
Yeah, it was the
Bob.
Seminoles, I think, yeah.
All right. How
Yep.
much does the county charge to park on the roads per hour?
Out here on the beach?
Yes.
Per hour?
Yes.
I parked out here, I know, before.
So take a wild guess.
I think it's around $3 an hour.
$3 is correct. I don't think you need
Hey.
to give him the answers.
Who? I don't.
Okay.
I don't think it's the county that
Number
charges
8.
on there. It's the town, and
Dear,
the county is over
sit
here.
down and study your
Oh,
questions.
my Lord.
What is the name of the beach at the northern end of the island? What is it called, Bob? Yes, you're going to say it, Bob. You're going to.
Bowditch?
Yes, very
Yay.
nice. You were a little worried there. You were
yeah.
hesitating. Very. Oh, you were trying to figure out if it was O or Ow.
O or Bob,
Yeah,
yeah. I
that's,
was
we
actually
would have
there last
taken.
night.
We would have taken either of the variations of the answer. Would you like to throw one in there? He's already got a T-shirt.
I know. What is the name of the RV park here on the beach?
Red Coconut.
Very nice, Bob.
Yeah.
You are smart at everything on the beach. So, okay, I only have 2 left here.
Okay.
What massive landmark was on San Carlos Boulevard greeting all visitors to Fort Myers Beach for 55 years until they were demolished in 1979 in the name of progress? Think McDonald's, Bob.
Yeah, think McDonald's.
Think McDonald's. Think McDonald's.
Golden Arches. I don't
Well,
know.
they weren't
Yeah.
golden, but you're right. We'll take
was an
we'll
arch.
take that answer. The arches. There used to be arches out there,
okay.
big
I didn't
cement
know that.
arches, and they're trying to actually restore them now.
Okay.
My final question: name one of the 2 Fort Myers newspapers. Fort Myers Beach newspapers.
The hang on a second. I was just reading it right around the corner.
Okay, well, your memory shouldn't be that bad then, Bob.
It is pretty bad.
Come on, Bob.
Sandpaper.
That's
Nice.
very nice. Very nice. All right, dear. We'll give you one more, and we'll
Very
let Bob go on his way.
good. Well,
and you're
this
gonna have to
is-
give him a T-shirt. Go ahead.
This isn't just to the beach. So, a
Well, this beach
person
trivia,
that's
dear.
born in Florida. What is the term they?
Floridian.
That's what I would have said. What is it?
Florida cracker.
Oh,
Florida
Oh,
Crocker.
come on.
Yeah.
That's not
Okay.
true.
I did not know that.
Give him one more of yours. He needs to go. He wants to go. He wants to get out of here. What are you doing today, Bob? Beaching
See
it? Yeah.
My girlfriend's sleeping in.
What's her name?
Caroline.
What does she do? She's not a nuclear physicist,
She
too,
works
is she?
at Whirlpool, actually.
At Whirlpool?
Yeah. She just
Wow,
got
the
back
combined
from Wall
income
Street.
for
They
you
rang the
two?
bell.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Wednesday,
Nice.
the closing bell.
Did you go too?
I was working. No, I was
Nice.
working.
Nice.
Now, how long
Yeah,
are you
she's
down
here.
here for?
We just came down for the weekend.
Just for
Flying
the
back
weekend?
Monday. Yeah.
Back to Michigan.
Yep.
So
The
what's your
weather's-
day like at work? What do you do?
It's classified.
Are you building weapons?
I was actually I managed a shift of operators for 10 years. I was a shift manager of 25 guys who started the plant up, shut it down, and now I'm out. I'm in work control now. I moved
Does Chernobyl still bother you? I don't know why I brought. I don't know why I brought that up. You know why I brought that up? There's a new
doesn't still
podcast.
bother me,
There's a
but
new
yeah.
podcast out called Chernobyl, and they're like, it
It's-
must be an HBO series coming out where these people just are analyzing the show on a podcast. Sounds
Yeah.
stupid, but
It was a bad thing that happened there.
Yeah.
I have to admit.
yeah.
It was not good for the industry at all.
Gotcha.
We're
All right,
suffering.
Bob, thanks so much, man.
Hey,
We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming down. My wife's going to set you up with a T-shirt. I don't even know where they are, dear, but go ahead, and I'm
Great.
going to
Well, that ought to make it easy.
make sure. They're either in the box or
you
they're
guys
right there on the table. We live here. We do this from 9 to 10 o'clock every Saturday morning. It's on Facebook, or she can give you a card too that it's you can go back and watch yourself on Facebook later on YouTube and the whole thing. But yeah, there's a.
Should be impressed.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you're a trivia genius.
Say that so she can see that.
I was on Facebook today, dear. I got all the questions right. By the way, folks, you are listening to Beach Talk Radio on the Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida, and you got to meet the folks from from the Florida Podcast Network last weekend. So go back and watch our show from last weekend if you want to see Jemmy and Glenn, the Geek Hebert. Glenn, who has 18 horse shows on his network, and he's like the podcasting superstar of the world. So check out Finding Florida is another one of their podcasts, and you can head to floridapodcast.com to check out their show and their past adventures. Yeah, last weekend they got to go in an RV and stay at the Red Coconut is where they stayed, and they were traveling through Fort Myers Beach and doing all the fun stuff, the Edison House and the Ford House, and they hung out on the beach with us. So the Florida Podcasting Network, and we want to thank them for picking up our show. Thank Bob. Take care, Bob. Bob, the nuclear physicist from Michigan,
Yes.
was super cool. It's nice now to.
He's lassoing.
He was
up his
perfect.
shirt.
He was perfect.
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great. And I mentioned to him that if he needed any remodeling done,
Very nice.
and I gave him one of the cards. Nikki got you covered.
That's
girl.
right. Way to go.
And so he said he would
Do
look
that
into
again.
it.
That's nice. Okay, so next week there's apparently this guy that who did we have on last weekend? That was we had Megan on last weekend, and she said that we need to talk to this guy who lives on the island, but his job is to travel to like Aruba and all these different places, and
that job?
and he just created it from social media. He created
Nice.
himself a social media star, but he lives here in Fort Myers. He would have been on this week, but he's in Aruba or somewhere like that. So he's going to be on next week. We're going to
And
have
we reached out to Betty
Simpson, everybody. That's from Fort
I
Myers
have to
Beach.
get
Please
back to her. She was very gracious and said she was busy this weekend, but she
put the
would
pressure
get-
on Betty. We need that Betty Simpson
Not
on.
pressure, but we would love to have her on. I'm sure she's a wealth of historical information, and she's very interesting things that I learned about her when we were at the
boat
thing.
races.
Yeah.
Yeah. The boat race thing was very fun, yes. And we're going to have the boat people on in 2 weeks. So,
do you have next week planned out? Because I don't want to go through
no,
another week
no.
like this.
Listen, I know you got a little angry
You.
this past week because
I got angry.
Well, sometimes-
you were giving me
sometimes
such a hard
I get
time.
frustrated when you don't put any work in for the show. You just expect to show up,
I
look
have-
pretty, and just be ready to ask the
God,
guests
you
questions.
are really rocking the chauvinist.
I'm not,
comments
because I said you
today.
look pretty. Sorry, hashtag
No.
my sorry. My bad.
Grammar problems, memory problems.
I'm just saying. It would be nice once in a while if you
I
put
have
some
a
work into the
full-time
show.
job, and I have
Whatever.
a couple of them.
So do I.
Oh, please, you're taking a nap every day.
A couple.
At
I need to take
least.
20-minute power naps.
You're
It
going
re-
to the gym in
it
the middle
revives
of the
me.
day.
Yeah. I rode my bike a lot this week during the
You're
middle of
half
the day.
retired.
I hope Deborah's not listening. But
Yeah, Deborah.
no, so we had a little spat because you don't really put a lot of effort into the show, and you just expect it to come out the way it comes out, and that's because, all the extra effort I have to put in
Oh, okay.
to make the
That's
show
why.
a smashing success. And so this week, I'm sure you'll put in. We have one guest lined up for this week. You see, I would like it to be that I get a guest and you get a guest, and then we break it up, and then we do our little whatever this thing is at the end.
Okay. Well,
And then
I
we
just
move
don't
on.
have as many contacts as you. But
No, you just don't call people back like I do. You don't get back to people.
again, I'm working.
Okay. So slip out the back door every once in a while, like your friends do, smoking cigarettes. Oh, you got a little date today, by the way, don't you?
Yes.
With your friends at
Yes,
1
I'm
o'clock.
meeting them
What am I
at a
supposed to do?
chef's place where they make the food for you.
I'm
You're
gonna go-
going to be mowing the lawn and not using Roundup.
I was going to say I'm going to dump the rest of the Roundup out.
I will buy you some vinegar.
Holy crow, we're way over. We're
Oh
9
my
minutes
gosh.
over 10
All right,
o'clock.
that's it.
All right, everybody, thank you all for joining us, and we will be back next week for another show. Check us out on the Beach Talk Radio Facebook page. Also, you can download our app on Apple. It's for free.
Please
And
get your bag. They're free.
make sure you say hi to Nikki at FMB Designs and Remodeling, and listen to the Florida Podcast Network and all of that fun stuff. So thank you very much. Have a great holiday weekend. Yes, and
stay
thank you
safe.
to all the veterans
Sure.
and all of that. What?
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.